didn't know what I was getting myself into. But because of classical training, so I mean, great chance for me to test it. She gave it so it's totally outside of my yeah, it was great. It's a skill that I never have it. It was so I did 3 years. I did all Friday night
I lost him. Okay. There he is. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, wait, Rhonda's waiting to sit with Larry. Hang on 1 second.
I am? Yeah. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
So I do that in the mornings mostly.
I don't ask me. Right.
Yeah.
Hi, Harry.
Are we going out there and coming out? Or
Yeah. Yeah. I was just asking that question a minute ago. So.
Babe? Great, my favorite color.
Shannon's at a big
He's over there somewhere.
yeah, the new side.
He's sitting down. Alan.
Trying to get back in.
So we're missing a few people.
It seems like it's kind of continuing.
I actually agree.
That's one of my favorite games. Both of them are amazing. It's a big piece. I mean, it's a symphonic. It's more like a symphony. Yeah. It's spectacular. And some of the drums,
Oh, there is one.
yeah. I think, yeah, as far as the piano, it's a big piece. And I like the ladder. That was senior recital.
Well, it's more than 17. That's how we do the party.
Sometimes
That's how we saw.
The Friday night between Rosh Hashanah is kind of
I'm always
Rabbi always sometimes get a basement. Sometimes get a wall.
I was gonna say.
Sometimes you reach out there.
yeah. They were pristine. Is that sad? Chopin was kind of the same way. He didn't really know this publishing postures. They did. Some of them did.
Shana Tova, everyone. As you're making your way to your seats, my name is Eddie Simon. I'm the executive director of Congregation here at Amida, and I have a couple of quick security announcements. Please refrain from parking directly in front of Kohl's, CVS, or any of the retail stores across the street. Remember to park in the back of their parking lot. That's the area we have reserved. So if you have parked in front of Kohl's or CVS, move your car. In the event of an emergency, please proceed to any of the doors marked exit and take a look around while you're sitting here and make sure you identify which door is the closest exit for you. If you have a medical emergency, we have a first aid station in the multi-purpose room across the hall. Please remember to turn off your cell phone, or at least turn the ringer off, so that we cannot interrupt services. Also, I hope everyone, I see a lot of you are wearing your name badge. This really helps us create a Chaimish community where everyone knows each other's name. If you never received your name badge in the mail, please check in with Haley or Roberta at the table outside the sanctuary. We have a number of them available. What else I'd say? I think that's it. From everyone in the office at CNT, I want to wish everyone a Shana Tova, Gemar Chatama Tova, and I will now introduce Alan Mann, who's our Kol Nidre chair.
Wow, it's like 2019 again. Have some people, it's great. Come early tomorrow. Come early tomorrow and get a seat. We may sell out. Shana Tova, everybody. A good year. I'm Alan Mann, and I've been a member of this temple for over half my life. I was married here. My wife, Dina, converted here. Our 3 kids through religious school, bar and bat mitzvahs. I was married again, this time by the 5th grade class, same bride. I served 3 tours of duty on the board, and now my daughter, inspired over the years by our clergy, both past and present, is being ordained this spring as a cantor in New York. So I might say this place has worked out pretty well for the Mann family thus far. A little while ago, like many of you, Dina and I parked at Kohl's, walked across through the courtyard, and entered temple through those huge front doors. And I realized it was just a short 15 years ago that we entered this temple for the first time, marching through those same doors, carrying the Torahs that we're ready to pray from tonight and tomorrow. That was a fast 15 years for sure. And I see some heads nodding in agreement. Many of us grew up in synagogues that were 50, 75, 100 years old or more, built by past generations, their names on plaques on the lobby walls, most of whom were no longer alive. But not here. We built this temple, and we will keep this temple our Jewish home, congregation near Tamid. And who knows, maybe 50 years from now, our grandkids or great-grandkids or great-great-grandkids will ask, who built this place? Who built this temple? And we are the answer. As Jerry Gordon said on Rosh Hashanah, there was no playbook for 2020 and 21, and we took our hits. But now, our membership is growing. The religious school is packed with over 155 kids enrolled. That's our second most ever. Our preschool is thriving, sisterhood, men's clubs at record numbers. Our lay leadership and board of trustees are active and engaged. And with Rabbi, Cantor, Eddie Simon, Roberta Unger, and staff, and all of our committees and volunteers, CNT is offering more programs and services to our members than we ever have. We ever have. And tonight, we will pray in a safer and more secure building due to new security enhancements, both seen and not. Jerry told us last week that CNT is firmly on solid ground. Some of our past temple presidents, sitting, it looks like the Mount Rushmore of our presidents, they can tell you this hasn't always been the case, yet CNT has always been blessed with strong and committed lay leadership that brought us to where we are today. And by the way, being a temple president is way more than a part-time job, and the pay is lousy. However, you do get great seats on high holidays and first pull on the challah on Friday nights. Nevertheless, I can assure you that not one of them would have traded their time as CNT president. However, a temple doesn't run itself. Our membership dues, school fees, and rental income make up a little more than half of our annual budgetary needs to operate this campus that we built. The rest of what's needed must come from fundraising, the hallmark of which is our yearly appeal at Kol Nidre. For those of you, so many of you, who have pledged so generously thus far this year, on behalf of CNT, I thank you. You were all handed a pledge envelope as you entered the sanctuary this evening. I ask you to take a moment and consider increasing your pledge or make an initial gift of tzedakah so that CNT and all that we have built here may continue to grow and thrive. Please fill out and pass your pledge cards to the end of your row, or if you don't have one, please raise your hand. Our Mensch Club ushers will collect your envelope, and for those of you streaming online, you can pledge on the temple website or call Eddie or Roberta in the temple office. Gamar Chatima Tova, and may all of us be sealed in the book of life. We listen now to the melody of the Kol Nidre.
Good Yontif, everyone. To those of you who are here, those of you who are watching online, it is good to be together, to feel that sense of community, to usher in the new year, and to just be in each other's presence as the new year makes its way. We pray for good tidings. We pray for health. We pray for joy. But most of all, we come together with a communal sense of prayer, knowing that when we are present, what we make is a statement of being there for the Jewish community as well as for ourselves. And so we open up our machzor on page 8, page 9, for the mitzvah of kindling the Yontif lights. I'd like to call upon Patty Sachs, Juanita Wasserman, for this honor.
The human spirit is the lamp of God, searching out what lies within us. Guided by the flame of conscience, on this sacred night we search for truth. Shine your light upon us as we strive to serve you. May we find safety in your faithful love. We light the flame of healing and forgiveness on this atonement night. We give thanks for love.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotah, v'tzivanu hadlik ner shel.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Yom Kippur.
As we continue on page 14, we'll soon be opening the Ark and distributing the Torahs in anticipation of the Kol Nidre. So I'd like to call upon Michelle Blank, Dylan Martin, Jerry Gordon, Shirley Kaufman, Fred Toffel, and Jackie Rosen, if you'd all come forward right over here. Would the congregation please rise, page 14. Yom Kippur, the Jewish people's festival of the soul, and Kol Nidre, its sacred portal, a night of deep emotions, a night, as the psalmist wrote, to rejoice with trembling.
We rejoice at the sound of Kol Nidre, rhythmic words of release from vows, oaths, and promises to God we fail to keep.
We tremble at the melody, music of spiritual amazement. It fills us with awe as we stand before God and Torah.
We rejoice that we stand together, strengthened by community, in this hour of shared weakness and humility.
We tremble, for tonight we confess our flaws, admit our imperfection, and acknowledge a power far beyond our understanding.
We rejoice that we commit ourselves to great endeavors because we feel so deeply and think so nobly.
We tremble, for we find that our ideals are far greater than our ability. Our promises surpass our might.
We rejoice in the freedom that is Kol Nidre's true gift, the freedom to begin a new year without fear of failure, to aspire to be God's image in the world.
We tremble because we are mortal. We rejoice in our gratitude for life.
We rejoice with trembling and enter Kol Nidre to face our humanity.
Fred Toffel. With one voice, assembled sages past and present declare, all may pray as one on this night of repentance. Let none be excluded from our community of prayer. With one voice, God and congregation proclaimed, all may pray as one on this day of return. Let all find a place in this sacred assembly. Page 18. All vows, resolves, and commitments, vows of abstinence and terms of obligation, sworn promises and oaths of dedication, that we promise and swear to God and take upon ourselves from this day of atonement until next day of atonement, may it find us well. We regret them, and for all of them we repent. Let all of them be discarded and forgiven, abolished and undone. They are not valid and they are not binding. Our vows shall not be vows, our resolves shall not be resolves, and our oaths, they shall not be oaths. Together on 22, chant your supplications to God in a melody that makes the heart weep, in your praises of God and one that will make it sing. Thus you will be filled with love and joy for the one who sees the heart. We continue on page 25 as we read together. Day and night are yours, creative spirit of the universe, the muted colors of twilight, the radiance of dawn. Yours are the spreading wings of light, the deepening shadows of darkness, an ever-changing drama. In the human heart, too, the struggle between darkness and light unfolds. From sunlit heights of generosity, the human heart sinks to the gloomy depths of selfishness. Although we fall, you give us the strength to rise again. You call on those who hurt through word or deed to break free from wrongdoing and return to you. All who hear your call to goodness are embraced. All who reject emptiness and evil find acceptance from you. We come into your presence this night of Kol Nidre, aware that our shortcomings and weaknesses are many, yet encouraged by your promise of forgiveness. We choose freely the path of repentance, restoring wholeness to our lives and holiness to the world.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari Baravim.
Love beyond all space and time, your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Let us rise. Listen, Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated.
We call up anyone who has become or is going to become a bar or bat mitzvah in the year to come or the year that was, and that includes if there's any adults here from the adult B'nai Mitzvah class. That's in the front right here. Continue on page 41. For
For every exile who walked out of Egypt between walls of water, for everyone who remembered the feel of sea bottom underfoot, the sibilant roar of water rearing on the right, on the left, someone forgot, someone scanning the dry horizon for a well, or already mourning the musky smell of autumn in her father's fig trees, forgot the hosannas, and by the bitter waves of Marah, forgot the flash of dancing feet, the shimmer of timbrels. For every proselyte at Sinai, someone never heard of horns at all. Someone turned back from the mountain to bank the fire, feed the baby, steal a secret moment with another. Revelation begins in attention while the elders trembled before the word of God, flowing down the scorched north flank of Sinai. Someone, rising from a last long embrace, gazed into the rapt face of the beloved and saw that it was good. Page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkenu l'chayim. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives. Be our shield, make us stronger than the enemies we face. Illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us that we may come home in peace, now until the end of time.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'akumo Yisrael, ve'Yerushalayim.
Page 46. We rise for the Amida.
Adonai Sfatai Tifta, Adonai Sfatai Tifta, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ufi Agid Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Shalom again. Baruch atah Adonai. Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai. Mechaye Hakol Atah Rav Lehoshia Morid Hatal. Mechalel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Ve'ofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim Emunato B'shenei Afar. Michamoch Ba'al Givorot Umidom Melach, Melech Meit Umechayeh Umasmiach Yeshua. Michamoch El Harachamim, Zocher Yitzurav L'chaim Barachamim. V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai. Mechaye hakol.
We continue at our own pace, pages 50 through 70. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated. This time we turn to page 82 and transition to the Vidui, the Confessional. Please rise.
Page 83. When I was young and learned the alphabet, life was open to me. A was full of aspiration. B was for beauty. C for confidence. And D for dreams. And so on through the list, no fewer than 26 opportunities, 26 possibilities. And yet I fear that with the passage of time, I've squandered them, creating instead A's of apathy, B's of brusqueness, and C's of coarseness. Help me then to return to that innocence. Let the letters be letters once again, and let them rise to the heavens and form into the words that you know I wish to say.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Tavo, Tavo lefanecha, tefilateinu, be'al titalom, mitchinateinu, she'in anachnu, hazefanim ukashei oref, loma lefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotinu,
Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Our turning away from your mitzvot and laws of goodness is a hollow pursuit. You are just concerning all that happens in our lives. Your way is the way of truth, while ours leads to error. What can we say to you whose existence is beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself? Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. You know the secrets of the universe and the secrets of the human heart. You know and understand us, for you examine our inner lives. Nothing is concealed from you, nothing hidden from your sight. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we pray that this be your will. Forgive all our wrongs. Pardon us for every act of injustice. Help us atone for all our moral failures.
שחטאנו לפניך בזדון ובשגגה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה.
The ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך.
The ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, and harm we have caused in your world through careless speech. The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. The ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. The ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, and harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor. The ways we have wronged you through violence and abuse, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty and business.
כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
Page 99. We read together. Will you hear my voice, you who are far from me? Will you hear my voice wherever you are? A voice calling aloud, a voice silently weeping, endlessly demanding a blessing. This busy world is vast, its ways are many. Paths meet for a moment and part forever. We go on searching, but our feet stumble. We cannot find that which we have lost. Perhaps my last day is already drawing near. Drawing close are the tears of parting. I will wait for you till my days flicker out, like Rachel waiting for her beloved. God of forgiveness, we come before you in need of compassion. At Sinai, you spoke words that guide our lives to this day, but our ancestors lost faith in you, lost hope in their Redeemer. Page 100. With one voice they had promised, we will do and obey, and yet stiff-necked they broke their word, adoring an idol of gold. How wondrous your compassion in the face of their rebellion, your forgiveness in that moment of human weakness and doubt. We too have broken promises to you. We too worship the work of our own hands. We too make of gold a god, and we too forsake your word. At Sinai you revealed 13 attributes of mercy. These aspects of your nature, your very essence, we now recall.
נוצר חסד לאלפים, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטאה ונקה. אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, ארך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת.
Adonai, Adonai, God, compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the 1,000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon. Please be seated as we turn to page 106.
כי אנו עמך ואתה אלוהינו, אנו עבדיך ואתה אדוננו. אנו רעייתך ואתה דודנו, אנו סגולתך ואתה קרבנו.
We continue on page 113 for the honor of accompanying the Ark Curtain. For Avinu Malkeinu, we call upon Diane and Kenny Epstein, Alexandra and Jonathan Godai and children, Katie and Jonathan Fine and children, Michelle and Lawrence Epstein and children. If you all come forward. Page 113, please rise. Page 113. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Some of us have cancer. Some have lost strength of body. Some have lost memory and speech. Some of us are in pain. Some can't find work. Some of us bear the marks of human cruelty. Inside where the scars don't show. Some live with depression. Some battle addiction. Many feel alone. Some have known shattered marriages, trust betrayed, hopes destroyed. Some of us has lost the ones we love far too soon, and some have lost a child. All of us have been suffering in our midst. All of us know the ravages of war, for which there are no words.
Avinu Malkeinu, why? Avinu Malkeinu, are you there? Do you care? Avinu Malkeinu, hear our pain. Hear our anger. Hear our grief. Avinu Malkeinu, here is our prayer. Give us the strength to go on. Give us reasons to get up each day. Give us purpose and persistence. Help us to fend off fear and to hold on to hope. Help us to be kind. Don't make us bow or grovel for your favor. Give us dignity and give us courage.
Avinu Malkeinu, show us the way to a year of goodness. Renew our belief that the world can be better. Restore our faith in life. Restore our faith in you.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu, Ve'alol aleinu, V'tapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu,
I don't know if that's a good sign. You stand up to do a sermon, all the presidents leave. All right, guys, a little bit ago, 2 years. 2020, COVID rages. The whole world had to figure out this virtual universe overnight, including their Tamid. We had to figure out something called Zoom. Who ever heard of Zoom, right? Could have been Zip, could have been something else, I don't know. There's that camera that is still with us, and the one over there, all of a sudden, a virtual congregation. But the same thing happened with professional sports, as you may recall. These games had to go on, and the stadiums were empty. So what did the fans insist upon? You guys remember? Cardboard, yeah, exactly. So we had these cardboard cutouts to populate the sports stadiums. And someone had the bright idea to say, let's do it at Ner Tamid. Yes. So for a good 2 years, Cantor and I were standing there to a room, well, not a room, we didn't raise that much money, about 70 cardboard cutout figures. And to make things interesting, we'd move people around. They thought they would cheer us up, looking at these somewhat stiff cardboard cutouts that never seemed to age, but always stood up, so prim and proper. They didn't rise for the appropriate prayers, and the group was, shall we say, a little stiff. The idea was supposed to cheer us up, as I said, and it really kind of depressed me. Sorry about that, whoever was in charge of that fundraiser. We'll take the money, but it didn't cheer us up. In the heat of COVID, I wondered, is this what my community has become? Cardboard Jews. Avatars of themselves that would come and pray, but with little commitment or physical presence. Would my congregation return when COVID began to diminish? The answer 2 years later is happily, yes, here we are, and no, some are still online, but we're making our way. We're finding our way, our own comfort level. But the reality is that Judaism has been facing the challenge of cardboard Judaism for quite a while. And I think we need to sit up and take notice. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that Judaism is dying. Too many people have made that prediction century after century and failed. But I will tell you this. In 1984, when I was ordained, there were 14 million Jews. Today, as the world has increased by several billion people, there are still just over 14 million Jews. We're not dying, but if we're not careful, we're going to be irrelevant. Now, we could solve this, planting a few seeds. We need more Jewish babies. It's always a good thing, and I know some of you here are doing your part. But we also have to focus on our own individual responsibility to be a Jew. Latest population study of Las Vegas, about 65 to 70,000 Jews live in greater Las Vegas. And about 6,000 to 7,000 are affiliated. The shame is, here I am talking to the people who are present, where I need to get all those people who aren't present. But you'll pass the message along to those cardboard Jews. I hope you will. I hope you will. I hope you'll take them by hand and drag them, whether it's kicking or screaming, or promise them a bagel and schmear, whatever it takes. But bring them here, because that's where Jews need to belong and feel a sense of community. We need to focus not only on this sense of personal responsibility, but we have to understand that being an avatar is not an us. It's one-dimensional, it's cardboard, it's stiff. It's someone who's not involved and doesn't move, doesn't let Judaism penetrate their soul. And even if somehow, magically, they were to show up, they could never stand up for being a Jew. They could never root for their home team, Judaism. They would just sit here, unmoved. So, if half of life is showing up, then all of Judaism is being present. Cardiac Judaism can only get us so far. Gastronomic Judaism, maybe a little bit further. Who doesn't like a good bagel and schmear? But a generation or so later, those feelings won't last. We need to get real with ourselves, and cardboard isn't real. So I'm going to share with you a couple stories. About 12 years ago, one of our on-again, off-again members of the synagogue was struggling with what I thought was the most ironic, paradoxical problem of all. She had a little girl who was insisting on coming to synagogue. That was the problem. The mom didn't want to drive her, but the child wanted to come. She loved being here. And so every once in a while, the mom would feel guilty and she would join the synagogue, and a year would go by and her child just loved it. And then she would drop her membership, and another year or two would go by, and she would sneak in here a little sheepishly and says, "Rabbi, I don't know what to do. She loves it here." And I said, "We want to clone your daughter." She says, "I know, but I'm not that religious. I don't know how my daughter got to be so religious." I said, "Well, you can wonder, but you should praise this. You should encourage this. I have hundreds of families who would love to say, 'This is my daughter. This is my son.'" So eventually her daughter won her over, and she came here and she got her bat mitzvah, and she stayed through confirmation, and she stayed to be a madrich, despite the passionate discouragement of her mother, who didn't want to wake up, didn't want to come. Her daughter stood up and said, "I want to be Jewish." And ironically, paradoxically, her mother was so proud. That little girl grew up, went to college, became involved, found a program in Israel that just inspired her beyond birthright, and has been there for months and months studying away. Now, I don't know if she'll become a rabbi or a cantor or an educated, but I can tell you this: she's not made of cardboard. She is totally a three-dimensional Jew who understands the beauty and blessing of being Jewish. And whatever the secret sauce is to make that person, we need to find it. And we need to find it in a hurry, again and again and again. For some people, it comes naturally, I think, don't you? There are people who are just naturally spiritual, and they are drawn to religion. But guess what? More people leave Judaism every year than choose Judaism by conversion. These same spiritual Jews are finding a way, but not necessarily in the halls of our sanctuary. We need them here. We need you to take them by their hand and bring them. We need you to find in your home something that represents what they're learning here, so that they understand what they learned here is to live a Jewish life. That's what we want. So we have to think to ourselves, How in the world do I make that happen? We can't all be people who have a child who say, take me, take me. On the contrary, we know the story. After a certain age, they go, I want to play soccer. I want to play baseball. I don't have any friends there. I want to go do something else. And it's a struggle and it's a fight. And so the grooming and the process has to begin at such a young age. And for those of you who I look around saying, I did my bit, Rabbi, I'm just a grandparent now. I say to you, don't discount the role of being a grandparent. I get it. There are times you just have to zip it and not say a word. But there are other times when your children, the parents of these grandchildren, still look to you for leadership. If you don't have that Seder, there isn't a Seder. If you don't have the meal for Rosh Hashanah, there isn't one. Now, I know you want to pass that torch, but until that torch is passed, you have to keep that torch alive. Because for your family, you are Judaism. You are Judaism. But let that torch be passed, and let it be held by another generation, and let it burn just as brightly, even if its hue and color is a different way. Let it burn, and let it illuminate the lives of everyone here. I'm going to tell you another story. This one's not mine. This is by one of my favorite rabbis, Karen Kadar. She writes in her book, God Whispers. A congregant reaches out to the rabbi in time of need and wants the rabbi to call her. Rabbi Kadar calls, and a man's voice answers the phone. According to the temple records, only one person is listed. There's no mention of a husband. But it was her husband who picked up the phone. He's kind of gruff, and he says, who's this? She says, it's the rabbi. How is your wife, Hope, feeling? Just a second, he replied, and put her on hold. A few minutes later, he returns to the rabbi. What would you say your name is again? The rabbi, Rabbi Kadar from the synagogue. I want to know how your wife is doing. Is there anything we can do? Nah, she's fine. You don't need to do anything. Well, can I come over and see her? The rabbi said, sensing his hostility and trying to keep calm. They settled on a mutually convenient time, though she felt that he was not too pleased. On the day she was supposed to see Hope, her husband called the office to give a message to the lady rabbi that today was no good. Nope, not convenient at all. Since the rabbi had not spoken to Hope, she was persistent. God bless Rabbi Kadar. She was persistent. Finally, Hope told her husband she would like to see the rabbi, and a visit was scheduled. When Rabbi Kadar arrived at their apartment, the garage door opened and a car pulled out in a hurry. She finally parked her car and entered the house. Sitting in Hope's living room, she found this beautiful woman with a deep sense of spirit and love. This was not what she expected after the phone call. She had only sensed hostility and negativity coming from this house, not this warmth of embrace that Hope greeted her with. And so when the rabbi came in, she said, Rabbi, please sit down. I got to tell you this story about me and my husband. When I met my husband, he insisted that I convert to Judaism. And when I agreed with the condition that I embark on a serious course of study, he warned me that he would not attend the classes and that I was not to go too far with this Jewish thing. I found the study to be fascinating and spiritually nurturing and insisted that we celebrate some of the holidays. I would light Hanukkah candles, and he would stand in the doorway watching from afar. I wanted to attend high holiday services, but he refused to join a temple. I started going with my friend whose husband also wouldn't go to services. And eventually I joined the synagogue, though my husband refused to be a member. Before I had this stroke, I'd never seen my husband cry and be so supportive. I know that I will recover fully through inner strength and God's help. I make it back a little more each day. Later on, Rabbi Kadar was curious and wanted to know why her husband was so hostile. And she discovered his pain. When he was a teenager, his father died. All these years, he was angry with God. He prayed, like all of us would pray, that his father would live. And his father died. And in that pain, he came to the conclusion that religion was phony, that religion was useless, that if there was a God, which he said there was not, it was a capricious, terrible God to let his father die. These are only two stories, two among the thousands upon thousands of stories that exist in the community we call Judaism. It's easy to focus on assimilation as our primary threat, or anti-Semitism. Those are our two biggies, right? But perhaps at our own peril, we ignore some of the lessons of these stories, that we are too stiff, too resistant to what it takes to practice our Judaism. We resist the energy it takes to pass it along to our children, and when they grow up, we wonder why they know so little about being Jewish. And so when life happens and they turn to Judaism, they turn to the Judaism of a kindergartner or a first grader or a second grader, and it's not enough. It's not enough. Think about this form of Judaism. We would all be rich if all we had to do was say a prayer to God and win the lotto, would we not? Think about this. Our loved one is sick, and we're going to say a prayer. I'm going to say a prayer. This is at the foundation of all religions. But there is also a part of us that knows that that prayer is a wish, a desire, a hope, a way of emboldening us with inner strength at a time when we feel weak. And if it would take that prayer to move God, what kind of God is that? It would be as if I had a magic lamp and my name was Aladdin. And in order to make that genie work for me, I had to rub the lamp, akin to saying a prayer, and then said, "Genie, this is what I want." Who's more powerful in that story? The genie has all the magic, but Aladdin holds the lamp. God Almighty, all-powerful, needs our prayers? Maybe. I mean, we're taught that. But it is really us who needs those prayers, because we are partners with God. We are partners with God. And those prayers remind us not to lose hope, not to lose our way, not to go into despair or to let rabbi you had a fight with or a death at a sad time in your life take away your faith and drive you into darkness and despair. Because I would argue that we are much stronger, much more loving, much more whole when we understand that we are not alone. When we feel distant from God, we have to ask, who's moved and who's moved away? The tradition says that there is a paradox. Pray as if everything depended upon God, but act as if everything depended upon you. That is the contract. That is the agreement. That is the breed. God will watch over us collectively, but we collectively must respond to God. Because the world is better off because there are Jews. Now, I don't just say that out of a sense of triumphalism. When you look at this small little people of 14 million Jews out of a world of 7 or 8 billion, and we have had this huge impact in politics and religion and science and education and every social cause in the world, one has to understand that the notion of being an or l'goyim, a light unto the nations, is extremely powerful. And it is our blessing and it is our curse, because with this blessing comes the responsibility of not being an avatar, not being a cardboard Jew, but being a Jew who is proud and involved and understands that sense of responsibility and understands what it means to truly be a person of faith. I won the lotto. Easy to be a person of faith. I got a job. I have my health. I have my family. Easy to be a person of faith. But when things are tough and we feel alone, not so easy. And that cardboard Jew just falls right over because he or she is not filled with three-dimensional Judaism to draw upon. And so I challenge everybody here. I challenge everybody here to learn more, to do more, to light those fires by which you and your family warm yourselves by the light of values that has sustained our people for 5,000 years. Pass the torch. Pass it, but not until you have bathed yourself in its warmth. And don't let anyone, let alone yourself, through apathy, ennui, or ignorance, take your Judaism from you. We should have 60 million Jews, 100 million Jews. We need more Jews. And it starts with ourselves. And once we've finished with ourselves, which we will never do, we need to look. And we need to look and find other people, and there are thousands of them in this community, and say, I want you to join me. And with that invitation, and it may be as simple as that, they will come. There are people who have entered into this building and they will say, I've come and no one's ever talked to me. Don't let that ever happen, ever. We are anxious to talk to our friends, but if you see a lonely Jew in synagogue, you warm their hearts with friendship and outreach. That is the way you build community. Handshake by handshake, hug by hug, okay, there's COVID. Well, at least do it with a warm smile. Pull that mask down just for a second with that smile and say, I am glad that you are here. There are so many other things you could be doing. Oh my God, that God of sports is a jealous God. I think I've got to move near to me to Allegiant Stadium. Maybe a little soccer on the Beamer would help. I don't know. But this I know. Avatars won't cut it. I need you. We need each other. We need each other because the spirit and the mission and the values of Judaism are too important to let them dissipate. It is up to us, one person, one Jew, one caring person at a time, to say the same thing that Abraham said, Hineni, here I am. Kujentif. We continue on page 116. I'd like to call upon David Miller, Jackie and Larry Rosen, Candace and Bernie Human for the honor of accompanying the art curtains for the Elena. Look at the whole Human clan here, or most of them.
If you are thinking of someone tonight who has recently left this world, or you are observing the Yortzeit of someone that you loved and lost, or you're simply thinking of them tonight as it is the High Holy Days, we ask you to submit those names online if you're watching us on the live stream.
In the last few weeks, we have lost way too many members of our community. As I read their names with sadness. Jack Bolofsky, Leo Schoenfeld, Irene Schatz, Jeffrey Gale, Erwin Perlman, Elaine Heller, Joyce Cozzolino, Dick Hyman, Eileen Diamond, Frank Weinberg, Jack Stankard, Annie B. Luster, Arlene Cohen, Timothy Grushi, Louis Bradfield, and John Brick, all within the last few weeks. We recall the Yortzeits of Carol Altman, Seymour Altman, Lillian Appel, Ella Bascow, Sally Berardi, Henrietta Cohen, Glenda Holland, Cornstubble, Leonard Crystal, William Croft, Martha Davis, Rose Downs, Goldie Figlars, Sam Fine, Carol Frank, Leon Friedman, Mac Friedman, Roberta Genovitz, Charles Gogol, Joseph Goldshine, Celia Goldstein, Jerome Gollard, Jordan Goodman, Murray Gordon, Harry Gorlick, Leonard Gottlieb, Robert Herwick, Donna Higo, Ruth Granson, Jerome Leviton, Philip Levy, Pat Lionel, Hetty Manger, Donald McBride, Benjamin Mendelson, Pepe Molaski, Davis Ostro, Max Perlman, Joseph Polinsky, Sylvia Price, Samuel Reeson, Marion Rosenkrasner, Betty Rosenberg, Barbara Schulman, Philip Stein, Herman Steiner, Miriam Watson, Saul Wheel, Frank Weinberg. If you'd like to say the name of someone who is not mentioned for Kaddish, please stand and say their name.
Eileen Clafter, Stephen Cohen, Ellen Joan Shore, Darlene Bridley, Eugene Kirschbaum, Ruth Cranston, Paul Cranston, Lena Cranston, Irving and Phyllis Katz, Tess Scheel, Martin Winnick, Don Schumann.
We turn to our Kaddish prayer, page 122. With the congregation, please rise. Together, Yit Kadal Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Bialma Divrach Chirutei V'Yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon V'Yomechon V'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, B'Agalav Zman Kariv Yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Omei Maya, Yit Barach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yitramam V'Yitnaseh, V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei Dekusha B'Richu, Leila Uleila Mikol Birchata V'Shirata, Tush Bechata V'Nechemata, Damiram Bialma V'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah Min Shamayim V'Chayim, Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Yimru Amen. Osei Shalom B'Mramav, Hu Yasei Shalom, Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael, V'Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'Yimru Amen. Please be seated. I want you to know, between the early service and this one, there's a good half hour, and I spent it chopping down these announcements because Jerry has been teasing me that they're too long. So Jerry, I spent a half hour chopping them, so give it a try. Otherwise, I know what I'm doing tonight, chopping some more.
On behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, Lashana Tova. First, our thanks to Rabbi Axelrod, Kendra Hutchings, and the adult choir director Ricky Reinhardt, and soloist Andy Smith for leading us in services this evening. On the bema with us is Barney Tabak, Vice President of Membership, who's filling in for Della Costa, who's still ill at this time. Our past presidents, Marla Letitia, Jackie Rosen, Harry Sachs, David Wasserman sitting in the audience, and Mindy Watkins. I'd also like to say a special word of thanks to Alan Mann, who agreed to be the Kol Nidre chair for this year. And just to follow up on what he said earlier, it is very important, the Kol Nidre campaign. In the union, where I was on the executive board for about 12 years, one of the things this temple was known for was the manner by which how we relied on the Kol Nidre campaign to raise about 10% of our budget, and how successful we were. So if you haven't already given, please just go online and make a donation. As I said at the earlier service, for about 30 years I've been collecting the Kol Nidre books. I don't know why, I just have. But one of the things I keep looking at is how much participation we have. And as I said, one of these days I would love to be able to get up here and say, the campaign has been extraordinarily successful, and we only have one family who hasn't contributed. Please make it 100%. We're about 50%. I'd like to see 55%. It's just a matter of participation, and the money we raised adds programs. We have a list of programs and things that we want to do, and we never have enough money for it. And as we raise more money, we just bring more programs online. And as you see, as I said last week, we have an incredible increase in our membership. Over the last year, we've seen more than 50, and now it's closer to 60 new families joining us. We are reaching a level where when we opened this building in 2007, we projected about 600 families, and then the recession hit, we lost membership. We are close approaching that, and that's marvelous. So for the members who have been here for the last several years and now joining us after 3 years and participating in services, to those who are on remotely, and to all those new families, thank you. And what we're accomplishing and what we're providing you is all dependent upon that type of membership and participation. With that, as the rabbi said, yes, last week he did finally, so someone edited the announcements. As everyone knows, over the last couple of years, as I've done announcements, I have a disdain for lengthy announcements. They're in online, they're in the bulletin, they're in the CNT blast, they're everywhere for you to see. So I'm not going to go through the dates and times at the times for tomorrow. They're in your tickets, in addition to all those other sources. So with that, let me keep it very quick. First, thank you to the Ritual Committee and Mensch Club for ushering. So many more people have contributed to this service and to the high holidays, and you can find they're on the board outside. The one note I will add is that tomorrow there will be a screening of Never Stop Dreaming, The Life and Legacy of Shimon Peres in the Beit Tefillah from 12:45 to 3 p.m. Don't forget the high holiday food drive, which runs through this Friday. There will be, it's not on this one, okay. The Sukkot service in the Sukkah on Sunday, October 9th at 7 p.m. Sign up for the dinner on our website. And obviously the preschool will not be meeting tomorrow. That's on the list. Finally, the rabbi and I, for the last several weeks, have been talking about the new Torah that has been commissioned and that we are in the process of finishing. For those who don't know, the Chernow family has commissioned a new Torah. In the 48 years that we've been in existence, we've never had our own new Torah. 3 of the Torahs we have right now are Holocaust Torahs, and we were given to us as guardian. Now, obviously, the guardianship is probably for eternity, for as long as we exist. But now we have our own. It's arrived. It's here. Last week during morning services, we actually had it here for people to come up and see it. It is not finished. It came with 150 unfinished letters. The Torah is not done and cannot be used until every letter is filled in. We filled in 20 letters. We have another 130 to go. We will fill those letters in over the next 4 or 5 months, and we will finish it in the first week of February. Materials are available for how you can participate in that and sponsor something. Those materials will be available and will be mailed out, but if you wish them, please ask Ed, and you can have those materials, see how you participate. The reason I mention it is I wasn't going to, but the Rabbi and I talked about it, but as you noted, I was standing here holding one of the older Torahs and one of the heavy ones, and as my arm went numb, as my back and the pain in my back radiated, as my leg started feeling like it was strained, holding that, all I kept thinking about was 1 year from now, one of us will be holding a 16-pound Torah. We ordered it with the best possible parchment, so it's going to weigh a total of 16 pounds. And that's all I could think of was maybe I would be holding that Torah. So I hope if we can have the Torah again for tomorrow morning. The Torah, the Rabbi has it in his office, and you can see it, and it's really an amazing thing. And so with that, L'Nashma Tova.
Shana Tova. Thanks, Jerry. So to clarify about Sukkot, a week from Friday is our Sukkot. It's not a potluck dinner this year. It's going to be available at nominal charge. So after Yom Kippur is over, now we got to think about Sukkot. So a week from Friday, we're going to gather for a beautiful Sukkot service and a dinner at nominal cost, but you got to go to that website and sign up. And as far as the Torah project, Jerry did a great job explaining it, but this Torah is really supposed to be a community project. So that's the key to the success of it being embraced by everyone, whether you sponsor a verse, a portion, or a letter. We need everybody here to own this Torah. So we'll be sending you materials, but really I want everyone to be a part of that Torah. All right, well, we're almost out of, we have another announcement. What do we have?
Well, I want to give another big thank you to Ricky, who's our accompanist and our choir director, and to our soloist this evening. We had Dr. Corinne Hochman, so she did a beautiful Shema Kolenu for us, and we want to thank Deanne Emmer for sponsoring our beautiful cellist, Andy Smith. So I want to just do an extra thank you for that. And if you want to go to Israel, and you've been thinking about it for a while, I missed a trip this last summer, so I'd like to go in the summer to come, but I need some of you to come with me. So we're going to go with Jewish Nevada in June. Let me know if you're interested in learning more about that. And I know it's something that's very near and dear to all of us is participating in the ADL Walk Against Hate. Something that our community was the biggest group to walk last year, and so we want to keep that up and be number one again. So if you have religious school age students, 4th through high school, they're all going with us anyway. We're not coming to CNT that day, we're going to the ballpark, and it's open to all of us in the community to be able to participate. So look in the bulletin for all the info.
All right, and last but not least, but very important, November 9th, remember that date, November 9th, Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. So my good friend Gar Jameson is bringing out this unbelievable Israeli director, producer, writer, and we're going to show his film about Wilfred Israel, who is the Jewish Oskar Schindler. We know a lot about non-Jews who saved Jews. This is a Jew, one of the most prominent Jews in Germany, who risked his life to save and hide and send out of Germany his fellow Jews, Wilfred Israel. November 9th, we'll show the film at King David, and then on Friday, we'll show it here at Ner Tamid with the director flown from Israel. So just put it here in your mind. All right, enough announcements. All right, I chopped a few, added a few. Sorry about that, Jerry. Adon Olam is our final song, if I remember
Page
right.
126.
All right.
Adon olam asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra, le'et naso v'chefzo kol, azai melech shemo nivra, ve'acharei kichrot hakol, levado yimloch nora, ve'hu haya, ve'hu hove, ve'hu yeh, betifara, ve'hu echad, ve'en sheni, להמשיל לו, להכבירה, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא אלי, וחי גואלי, בצור חבלי, בעת צרה, והוא ניצי, ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי, ביום אקרא בידו, אפקיד רוחי, בעת תשב בעירה, בלי רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא.
Baruch atah b'voecha, Baruch atah b'tzitecha, me'atah v'yad olam. Blessed were you in coming to services this evening. May you be blessed as you go forth now and forevermore. Amen. Amen. Good Jantif, everyone.
That's embarrassing.